What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for another episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit, and honestly, the last episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit recorded in this apartment, which means next week I'm moving a bunch, and the next time you see this ugly mug, it'll be in a brand new office. I am super stoked. That probably like 99% means there will not be an episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit next week. I will do my best to put some kind of content out next week. It's just research is a long and arduous process, you know what I mean? Anyway, today, Dragon 9 Hide requests we optimize around the spell Arrow Eruption, and much like when we optimized around like the most corner niche feats in Pathfinder, this was a really good challenge, a really fun challenge, and I really appreciated it. And I know I say this like every video, but I keep getting more and more excited to actually play these characters. I digress. If you're liking what you're seeing, like, subscribe, ding the bell. Remember that patronage at any tier gets you a Google Sheet that this character is written on. And if you've got any requests, looking at you, all those people in the comments who want more X-Men, it'll help get those requests to the front of a super long line. Today, this episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit was brought to you in part by our newest patron. Everyone, please welcome V-Dub. My friend Poisony Bleedy is on its way. Thank you for your support, fist bump. Now, here we go. Okay, so before we talk about the grand build of this video, first, let us talk about the spell itself that we are optimizing around. Arrow Eruption is a second level conjuration spell. It is available to arcanists, hunters, rangers, sorcerers, and wizards. Its casting time is 1 standard action. Its components are verbal somatic and requires an arrow or crossbow bolt with long range. It's a 30-foot radius burst. The duration is instantaneous. There's no save, but there is spell resistance. You create exact duplicates of the arrow or crossbow bolt you used to kill a creature in the previous round and launch one at enemy creatures within a 30-foot radius of the corpse. You can target one creature per caster level, a max of 15, within range of the burst, and must make a single attack roll and apply it to each arrow. These duplicate arrows possess all the intrinsic magical properties of the arrow that killed the original creature, as well as those passed on to it by your bow. They also enjoy the full benefit of any bonuses or modifiers you apply to the attack from other magical items, feats, and class or racial features. However, the spell cannot reproduce any spells or other limited use magical effects that you used to enhance that particular attack. This includes such effects as True Strike, as well as any area spell you might have placed on the arrow by means of the Arcane Archer's Imbue Arrow class feature. First, it feels to me quite a bit that there were some missed opportunities for Arrow Eruption because it appears on so few spell lists. This seems to have Eldritch Archer written all over it, Sanctified Slayer is attacking at range as well, and short of using a wand to cheat, they can't do it. It feels rude. Speaking of they can't do it, let's talk about what this spell can and cannot do. The original idea was we were going to make like the uber shocking grasp arrow or something, but since it can't copy spells, that didn't work out. What it does copy is the intrinsic magical properties of the arrow, as well as those passed on to it by your bow, so it's still a +5 arrow, and still one of the myriad kinds of unique, wondrous, and magical arrows one can procure in the world, which is pretty huge. But what really sets this build off is they also enjoy the full benefit of any bonuses or modifiers you applied to the attack from other magical items, feats, and class or racial features. So that means all of these arrows get sneak attack because they enjoy the benefit. They've got the thing. Further, if we were to say use one of the most niche and corner abilities in Pathfinder with this, the Assassinate ability of, say, a ninja, these arrows would also enjoy that class feature applied to the attack. So the goal today is to shoot someone a lot until they are dead, use lots of different tech arrows to then cause that death to bloom like a beautiful arrow flower eruption of death to just spray sneak attack at everyone, or assassinate someone and then spray death attacks at the board. Today's classes will be 18 levels of ninja, specifically the hunting serpent archetype, and 2 levels of Divine Hunter Paladin. I know, right? That means we have to cheat and use a wand or a scroll. That's why I chose the ninja over, say, a rogue or a slayer for our big sneak attack build, because the ninja is a little more charisma based, which means when we're investing all of our boatload of skill ranks into UMD to cheat wands and scrolls, we're using probably a really high modifier for it. Also for the save for the death attack, also for our key, and since we're Cha based, there's no reason to not grab a couple levels of Paladin for a Smite Evil, for what is probably a high ability score to all of our saves, but more importantly, the Divine Hunter gets Precise Shot for free at level 1 without having to meet the prereqs. And since today, in fact, we will be playing a human, that means we get 3 feats at first level, which is something we do not often talk about at min-maxing for fun and profit, but that means our character will have all of the tax feats necessary to be cool from jump. There is not low levels of, well, you took point blank shot, go cry and hope for the best. Did you bring a melee weapon maybe? No, our level 1 is literally point blank shot, precise shot, rapid shot. The Paladin also plays a second role in this build because the deity is important. You'll see why when we get there. And being a human also means that we will be able to use a great favored class bonus, because remember, since the ninja is a archetype 2.0 of the rogue, a ninja can use a rogue's favored class bonus and grab 1/6 of a new ninja trick. This is incredibly relevant because our hunting serpent, in addition to some other stuff, gets an ability called Death Mark, which says as a swift action, once per day, a hunting servant can mark an opponent damaged by sneak attack for death, gaining a +1 competence bonus on attack and damage rolls against an opponent affected by the Death Mark, as well as on survival checks to track them. The bonus is from Death Mark, and its number of uses per day increase as you level up, and at level 10, with certain demise, the Hunting Serpent's sneak attack damage applies on the first attack made each round against the target of the Death Mark, whether or not it's supposed to. Other effects that trigger on a sneak attack don't apply with this ability. That's fine. It still allows us to get our value if we happen to get caught with our proverbial pants down. This archetype trades out the ninja trick gained at 10th, 12th, and 16th, but we're grabbing extra ninja tricks from a favored class, so hey, cool. For our stat priority, prioritize your dexterity followed very closely by your charisma. You want to make sure you're able to hit things, and with the training enchantment, stands to reason you could probably grab some agile wakizashis and be a decent 2-weapon fighting character if you really wanted to. Most of our damage is coming from a billion d6 anyway, so it's fine. We'll need charisma for our paladin stuff, our key, our ability to assassinate people, and maybe even some out of combat bluff stuff, so it's right behind. Then strength as close as you can get after, because of course that is a bow's damage modifier. Then wisdom, followed by constitution. An archer will tend to need less constitution since you'll be attacked less on balance, but you still don't want to be mind controlled or dazed or things. And dump your int. We're gonna be mad as hell today. There's really no way around it. Anyway, feat time, here we go. Like I said, at level 1, point blank shot, precise shot, rapid shot means we are at the table, good to move. Point blank shot gives us that +1 to attack and damage against the bad guys within 30 feet and is a prereq for everything you want to do anyway. Precise shot allows us to ignore the -4 from firing into melee. Rapid shot, by accepting a -2, we can make 2 shots. We're just a paladin at this point, so we're not really jamming on a lot of sneak attack yet, but that's okay. We still are, at this point, a full bab archer who's good to move. Against the things you're fighting at level 1, you're probably pretty darn scary. Since we've got all of our taxes out of the way, at level 3, we'll grab exotic weapon proficiency for the Orc Hornbow. This will reduce our range from 110 feet to 80 feet, which is kind of sad, but we want to be within sneak attack range anyway, so we're probably there anywho. And the damage dice from the Hornbow goes up by 1 step. Came very close to playing an orc today, so we could have this from jump, but again, the human divine hunter just doesn't need it. Of course, this can be and should be composited out as fast as possible, because we are going to have some strength, might as well apply it to somebody. Accomplished Sneak Attacker comes next to buy off our 2 Paladin levels worth of sneak attack loss. Then at level 6 with a ninja trick, we will grab Weapon Focus with a Horn Bow. Remember, the ninja can also grab Rogue Talents. That's where the majority of our things are coming from. Next up, one of my favorite feats, a little less cool on this one, but probably staple for a lot of archers, Bullseye Shot. You can spend a move action to steady your shot. When you do, you gain a +4 on your next ranged attack roll before the end of your turn. Since we will be needing a little bit of setup time to assassinate people, adding a +4 to that attack to make sure you don't whiff seems really good. And sometimes it will be better in the spray and pray universe that archers are to just spend an action to be a little better at hitting anyway. High AC opponents get wrecked. At level 9, we'll grab Many Shot. When making a full attack action with the bow, your first attack fires 2 arrows. If the attack hits, both arrows hit. Apply precision-based damage, such as sneak attack and crits only once. Damage bonuses from using a composite bow with high strength apply to each arrow, as do other damage bonuses, like if you smote the guy. Damage reduction and resistances apply separately to each arrow, but that means by level 9, when we are full attacking, that's 2 shots with the first one, then rapid shot, then now with a BAB of 7, 1 more attack. At level 11, Hammer the Gap. Staple feat for anybody who's trying to make multiple attacks, the sleeper feat of Pathfinder. When you take a full attack action, each consecutive hit against the same opponent deals extra damage equal to the number of previous consecutive hits you have made against that opponent this turn. This damage is multiplied on a critical hit. So again, if we go into the training enchantment and grab some 2-weapon fighting stuff on, say, Achilles Wakazashi, our damage just continues to skyrocket, but as it stands, we want to make a bunch of attacks with a bow. This will put even more damage on it. Great in low point buy games if you have to be suffering through with like 14 strength. Right on its heels, the second staple for us archers, Clustered Shots, says we total all of our damage from all of the arrows flying through the air before applying DR, or even worse, before applying massive damage. If you're able to roll half the opponent's full normal hit points, a minimum of 50, it's DC 15 fort save or die under the massive damage rules. And since we'll have some stuff in our back pocket that we'll talk about in just a second that will make that happen just all the time, yeah, no, this is real great. Now, next up, random secret tech for this build, Snapshot. You love to see it. Says that whilst wielding a ranged weapon with which you have weapon focus, hey, we do, you threaten squares within 5 feet of you. You can make attacks of opportunity with that ranged weapon, yet don't provoke attacks of opportunity when you make a ranged attack as an AOO. This is even better when we think about the ninja tricks, Vanishing Trick, and the level right before this, our favorite class made sure we grabbed Invisible Blade, meaning we're constantly operating and shooting under greater invisibility. And I bet there's gonna be some people that are gonna do things that provoke with you next to them, and they don't know where you are, and you're targeting their flat-footed, and more D6 are yeeted at the table. 2 more feats today, Ability Focus at level 17, choosing the Assassinate ninja trick for a +2 to the DC. Then, last but not least, Deific Obedience. Once again, one of the deities that we very recently talked about here on Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit. One who probably has the best obedience for rogues ever forever. Our lawful good paladin self will be choosing the Arlent Eye Tanagar. By the time we've got this, we've got 1 level to wait before we get Hunter's Edge. In the meantime, by the time we grab it, we'll get Calm Animals thrice a day, Eagle Eye twice a day, or Deeper Darkness once a day, and Dark Vision out to 60 on our human. Looks real good. Hunter's Edge is still the one that's killing it. Sneak attack plus 3d6. This increase to sneak attack stacks with sneak attack damage you may have from other sources. Whenever you deal sneak attack damage with a piercing weapon, an arrow for example, you deal +2 points of damage per sneak attack die. Follow this card right up here. We talked about some rat folk stabby boys that did a lot of scary stuff with this. The Archer Ninja can do it too. Now, ninja tricks. Out the gate, first things first, we'll grab Powerful Sneak. This will help us compensate for missing some sneak attack dice. By accepting a -2 on the roll, we can treat the ones we roll on sneak attack as 2. This will obviously get much better as we level. Right now, it's just kind of icing on the arrow. We're shooting into someone's neck, borrowing from the rogue, of course, next. For weapon focus with our horn bow, then one of my favorite shenanigans the ninja can get up to, Forgotten Trick. When they use the ability, they select one ninja trick, not a master trick or rogue talent, that they don't know, and can use that ninja trick for a number of rounds equal to their level. They must pay any additional key costs, and it costs you 2 key to activate it, but like the Brawler's martial flexibility, that gives you access to the entire portfolio at the low cost of a bunch of key. When you want it, you got it. Basically, everything else we're grabbing is what I would consider to be staples. Vanishing Trick will give you invisibility, then Invisible Blade gives you greater invisibility. Then next, the all-important one, Assassinate. A ninja with this master trick can kill foes that are unable to defend themselves. This video is probably going to get demonetized, whatever, it'll be fine. To attempt to assassinate a target, the ninja must first study their target for 1 round as a standard action. On the following round, if the ninja makes a sneak attack against the target and the target is denied its dex to AC, aka if you're firing from greater invisibility and they don't know where you are, the sneak attack has the additional effect of possibly killing the target. The attempt automatically fails if the target recognizes the ninja as an enemy. Oh, wait, there's an arrow that's erupted out of space, and what is going... Oh, you died. Oopsie. If the sneak attack is successful and the target fails a fort save equal to 10 plus half the ninja level, plus the ninja's charisma, they die. If the save is successful, the target still takes a crap load of sneak attack damage as normal, but is immune to assassinate for 1 day. And since this doesn't take a specific action, if they didn't die to the assassinate, we just vomit arrows at their face. And last but not least, the final ninja trick will be all the way back up at the top, grabbing pressure points. This seems to be something we want to not just Forgotten Trick into. A ninja with this trick can strike an opponent's vital pressure points, wow, is that what that does? Causing weakness and intense pain. Whenever the ninja deals sneak attack damage, she also deals 1 point of strength or dexterity damage, decided by the ninja. Unlike normal ability damage, this damage can be healed by a DC 15 heal check. Each successful heal check heals 1 point of damage. A ninja with the trick gets a plus 10 insight. Neato, I guess. You really wanted to take like Petrifying Strike from the advanced rogue talents, but unfortunately we don't have access to those. Nevertheless, at high level play, with the amount of sneak attack we can throw down and the amount of attacks we have, this seems less than fancy at first, but at the end of the day, when we have 1 billion arrows going down range, this is a debuff that can stack up pretty fast. Even if you just put a -2 or 3 on somebody's armor class, or the dex-based character's armor class, attack rolls, so on and so forth, I think you'd be surprised. You could definitely tip the battle in 1 full attack action. Anyway, let's talk some magic items. There's a whole bunch of them today. This character is gonna need to, like, make money. I don't know how. You're obviously lawful good. Something Wrath of the Righteous, something Dragon Hordes. I don't know, man. You figure it out. But there are a lot of really cool magic arrows that do everything that the stealth character wants to do. So we gotta talk about them. Remember when we were talking about intrinsic properties of arrows? Yeah. That's the secret tech behind Arrow Eruption. In no particular order, the Arrow of Charming is a +3 arrow. When it hits a creature, it explodes in a small cloud of red dust and deals non-lethal. The creature struck must succeed at a DC 16 will save, or be charmed by the wielder as Charm Monster. Alternatively, the user can inscribe the name of another creature into the arrow. That takes like 10 minutes. In this case, the arrow's victim becomes charmed by the named creature. Did you get caught infiltrating the castle? Are you in danger? Your new best friend would certainly not turn you into the cops. You're totally fine to turn the corner and then get another sneak attack off. That's not very lawful good of you, bruh. Whatever. Well, deal with it. Talk to your GM. Buy your GM Taco Bell. Whatever you need. Hushing arrows. +1 arrows that make no sound on release or as they fly through the air. A creature struck by a hushing arrow must succeed at a DC 13 will save, or be affected by silence for 5 rounds. Oops, the caster can't cast. Oops, the guy you might not be able to take out can't call for help. The silence effect is not triggered by arrows that miss or those that strike an inanimate object. A greater hushing arrow does the same thing, but it's a DC 16 will save. If you've got an item crafter in the squad, also, arrows are ludicrously cheap to craft. And having what you need in your quiver to respond to situations is kind of what makes the archer so cool. This may not see play in a lot of games, but the Grave Marker arrow is a +1 arrow crafted from human bone by the agents of the Whispering Way. Okay, this one definitively doesn't work with the character concept, or does it actually? But I'm gonna keep moving on that one. When it strikes a target, all mindless undead within 300 feet, within a boatload of squares, all the squares you have and more, as your GM is frantically breaking out more graph paper, are compelled to attack the creature struck. This effect ignores the immunity to mind affecting effects normally granted by the undead typing. Undead under the control of another creature can be forced to ignore this command if their master passes a DC 11 caster level check. Sentient undead are unaffected. It lasts for a minute. Yeah, no, I think this works real well for the lawful good character who fires it back at a Whispering Way cultist who's got a lot of like zombies and skeletons and things around him. Maybe I've just been watching too much Resident Evil Let's Plays, but this has make the zombie apocalypse work for you written all over it. And even if you hit like a wizard or cleric, a DC 11 caster level check, that's not with their casting mod, that's basically just roll and hope for the best. Will they pass it? They could, but there's a reasonable window at the bottom where they fail and the zombos all eat them for breakfast. Just like chicken. And you knew you'd see it here. Next, the Snake Biter arrow is an animated wood and metal snake which squirms and hisses when handled, hey, just like me, attempting to bite its holder just as a real snake might. To use the Snake Biter arrow as a projectile, the bearer must first pass a DC 10 handle animal or wild empathy check. Remember that part where we've got a lot of skills and charisma is important to us? Yeah, me too. To get the snake to shape itself into a +1 seeking arrow or seeking bolt, this is considered a trick known by the snake for a minute. Failure means the snake attacks the bearer for 1 round as if it were a tiny viper familiar, but a target struck by the projectile must succeed at a save or be affected by a more powerful variant of Blackadder Venom, a fort DC 20. 306 gold for a DC 20 fort save is nuts, especially when that's once per round for 6 rounds, doing 1d2 points of con damage. That stacks up real quick, and that DC gets even higher if your full attack action happens to be a boatload of snakes being shot through the air at people. Last but not least, you knew you'd see it, the Slaying arrow. It's a +1 arrow keyed to a particular type or subtype of creature. If it strikes such a creature, the target must succeed at a DC 20 fort save or take 50 points of damage, or immediately, if that's half their hit points, be put into massive damage range. Poops! Note that even creatures normally exempt from fort saves, like undead and constructs, are subject to this attack. When keyed to a living creature, it's a death effect, so Death Ward protects you. A greater Slaying arrow ups the DC to 23, and if the saving throw is failed, does 100 points of damage. Consider if the witch misfortuned them first. If you've got an item crafter, spending 10,000 gold on 10 Slaying arrows for whatever the boss's typing is, they could fail a lot of saves. This could get out of hand real quick. And what if the boss happens to have the same typing as all of their minions? What if it's all dragons, or all aberrations, or all fae? All evil outsiders, you say? Yeah, you go nuclear. Super spoopy. Of course, the Sniper's Goggles or the Greater Sniper's Goggles variant will allow us to make our sneak attacks at any range and eventually get a +2 circumstance bonus on sneak attack damage per sneak attack die. That stacks real nice with Tanagar's Deific Obedience, because that one's untyped. Oops. Before we get to the real scary stuff, one that's a little oddly worded, but whatever, we'll let it go. Fight your GM or bring him Taco Bell. I really want Taco Bell. The Meditation Crystal gives us a little more extra value from being a sneak attacky ninja paladin. Though this focus is usually a hand-sized crystal, the exact form, such as a wooden idol, an iron disc, and so on, may vary for some religions. A monk or paladin of the cleric's faith may concentrate upon an activated meditation crystal, taking no actions for a minute, and regain 1 key point or 1 use of lay on hands. Once activated, the crystal retains its energy until a monk or paladin uses it for this purpose or a day passes. Okay, sure, we're a ninja, not a monk. You got me. But since if the ninja were to possess levels in another class that granted points to a key pool, ninja levels stack. And again, the alternate classes didn't see a lot of love. I think it's more than reasonable if your player wants to buy a bunch of these and then use them to help fuel the key machine that they are. Now, let's get even crazier. Really, this whole video is just us talking about magic items, isn't it? We're basically just Hawkeye, but better. There are 2 really cool bows in Pathfinder. If you pay half again as much as the cheaper of the 2, which is by far the first one we're talking about, we can combine them together for value. And since horn bows are treated as longbows and came out much later, I think it's more than reasonable for GMs to allow them to be made as horn bows. You wouldn't ask questions if they wanted short bows, would you? Exactly. First, the Oath Bow. Of Elven make, this white +2 composite longbow with a +2 stir bonus whispers, "Swift defeat to my enemies in Elven when knocked and pulled." Once per day, if the archer swears aloud to slay her target, a free action, the bow's whispers become the shout, "Death to those who have wronged me!" Wow, come on, man, who hurt you? Against such a sworn enemy, your bow is instantly a +5, oopsie, and arrows launched from it deal an additional 2d6 points of damage. And the crit mod goes to ×4, but we're not really worried about that because we're not fishing so much as just making ourselves available for fish to land in the boat, I guess. After an enemy has been sworn, the bow is treated only as a masterwork weapon against all foes other than the sworn enemy, and the archer takes a -1 on attack rolls with any weapon other than the oath bow. It lasts for a week or until you kill the thing. The oath bow may have only 1 sworn enemy at a time. Once the wielder swears to slay a target, they can't make a new oath until you did the deed or a week passes. Or if you were to just immediately nuke that person to death, you'd still need 24 hours. When you're making a bunch of attacks, tacking on an extra 2d6 is real nice. But the arrow splitter is the real scary one here. Man, you ever want to play an archer again? I told myself I would never again play the same character archetype, and I played a horse archer into the ground. God, I want to play this character. Arrow Splitter, a +5 second chance longbow, is made of supple willow that forever looks freshly carved. Whenever the wielder hits a foe multiple times with the bow, the arrow lands in the same spot, driving their way deeper. A creature struck by an arrow fired from an arrow splitter takes an additional 1d6 points of precision damage for each arrow fired from an arrow splitter that has struck the creature within the same round. For example, if a creature is struck by 3 arrows, the first does normal damage, the second does a d6, the third does 2d6. Welcome to the wide world of Hammer the Gap, the precision damage, which then interacts real nice with our sniper's goggles, and Tanagar is pleased and the bad guy is dead. In theory, anyway. I'm not sure if that's exactly sneak attack, but what the hell, I'm gonna let him stack. Why not? And for some more fun, the second chance special weapon quality. Once per round, when a shot made with this weapon misses, as a free action, the weapon's wielder can cause the shot to swerve and try to hit the target again, which gives the arrow fired a second attack at the same attack bonus as the first. Oops, free fortune effect. Okay, almost to the math. Holy God, this video is longer than I thought it would be. 3 spells, very important for us. Of course, we already talked about Arrow Eruption. Won't bring it up again, but Sense Vitals, grabbed in this case on a scroll because we're going to want the biggest caster level possible, will give us an extra 5d6 sneak attack. Oops. Then Gravity Bow, probably this one, just on a wand, but if you really want it to last for 20 minutes, hell yeah, get that scroll. Causes your bow to deal damage as if it were 1 size category larger, so suddenly our 2d6 horn bow is firing 2d8s. Alright, you nerds, time for some damage and attack math. Hooray, here we go. At the end of the day, we're looking at a base attack bonus of +15. Not bad, really. I'm gonna assume we had a very high point buy, because why not? let's say we got our dexterity up to 34 with a modifier of 12, plus 5 from an enchantment, plus 1 from weapon focus, plus 1 from PBS, plus 4 from the death mark, minus 2 from rapid shot, equals 36, 36, 36, assuming somewhere along the line you either keyed yourself for an extra attack or got hasted, 31, 26, plus your charisma should the target of your attack happen to be evil. I'm not even gonna assume it is because those numbers are real nice, considering you will almost always under greater invisibility be attacking their flat-footed. And if you aren't, if they've got C invisibility or something, you look at your best friend, the Witch. The Witch is a full caster and does everything better than you anyway. Moving on, a plus 5 Orc Hornbow will do 2d8 points of damage with Gravity Bow. That averages out as 9. Let's say you got a strength of 26, a mod of 8. Plus 5 from the enchantment, plus 1 from PBS, plus 4 from the death mark. Then 18d6 at the end of the day sneak attack, which averages out as 63. Then plus 36 from Tanagar's obedience and the greater sniper goggles, plus 2d6 from the oath bow, means your attack on average will do 169 damage. Take that bad boy times 5, which means a full attack would do about 845 points of damage, assuming they all connect, and then Hammer the Gap tacks on 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, so 10 more damage, and then 10d6 more from Arrow Splitter, which averages as 35, plus 2 per die rolled twice from Tanagar and the goggles, means your full attack action on average will spray 930 points of pointy death at the board. Assuming someone falls to this, next turn a Scroll of Arrow Eruption, because we want a whole lot of caster level, can shoot a bunch of sneak attacking arrows all over the place. Had you smote the target, you're going to be able to use that as well. Your death mark should also apply because this was from a class feature, to say nothing of any of the various tech arrows you could have happened to got. Or casually just throw a DC 30, 10 plus half our ninja level, 9, plus say a charisma at the end of the day of plus 10, and 2 from ability focus. A lot of things are just gonna die to you. You might not even need the Assassinate. It's kind of just there as fun flavor / why not try to do the thing, you know? I think it's cool. You point, you fire 5 arrows, the corpse falls on the ground. And since we're really good at use magic device, as many wands and scrolls as they want to pass over to you, you'll find value. But friends, that's all the time I have for this one. Again, thank you for a very fun and challenging build request, my friend. What do y'all think? Are we playing it? How do we like our sneak attack and archers? Let me know in the comments. Next time, I hesitate to say next week because odds are it won't be, we'll be looking at one of the occult classes, building around a full caster, optimizing around the psychic. Everywhere from Ruvik from the Evil Within to Mentok the Mind Taker and back again. I'll see y'all next time.